Sati Hillyer. I've known you for quite a few years now, and yeah, it's great to have you on the AI Outcomes podcast. And what brought us together really was you'd started a business that was all about video and video prospecting. I was doing like prospecting enablement training for enterprise customers, and I'd grown my entire business using LinkedIn video in particular, some bit of YouTube, but mainly I grew my business from LinkedIn. And all of a sudden, I was introduced to your product, and then we were just like delivering those classes together.
Yeah.
And then keen to get your background, do a bit of an intro, but yeah, and video, we were just talking, video's tough for people, right? Not everyone likes being on video. Now AI's come along, and when AI came along, I thought, right, OneMob,
Yeah.
they're gonna have some interesting use cases for this. So, but look, we've got lots of salespeople listening to this podcast, so let's get into the AI. But Sethi, look, really good to see you, mate. How's it going? And give everyone a little bit of an intro, please.
Yeah. No, glad to be here, Ben. It's been a while and I'm glad we can reconnect. And yeah, like you said, the world keeps pushing us forward and it's adapt or die, right? It's evolve or, you become less impactful. And so, yeah, my background again, I started OneMob a little over like 11 years now. And so a lot has happened. They always say you can
Wow.
overestimate what you can do in a year and underestimate what you can do in a decade. And I think about everything that we've gone through and, my journey, was kind of similar to a lot of your audience, right? Seller trying to make it through the corporate ladder, worked in Salesforce, other technology companies before that, and, worked on a variety of like selling motions, whether it's selling product or platform. And at Salesforce, I spent a lot of time building up, their partner ecosystem and their app exchange. Left to start OneMob because the idea for me was always about how do I make selling easier? How do I make it more impactful, especially in a crowded space? And this is all pre-AI. This is all pre-Sales Loft and Outreach, running cadences ongoing. Even in that time, it was still pretty noisy and every seller is just vying for time, right? It's not even a question of, hey, are you ready to buy? But hey, are you just ready to listen? Can you just hear me out for 30 seconds? And so video for me was just a natural extension of being there without being there. And we were naive and thought, hey, let's just build a quick, video messaging prospecting solution. Flip out your phone, click record, say, hey, so-and-so, I just want to put a face to name and introduce myself. And then once it's sent, we track all the engagement and we log that back to your CRM. And I think the thought was just salespeople generally are comfortable talking. So this should be an easy thing for them. But the more you think about video, the more you think about content creation, you start to realize like it does take a bit of creativity. And that's not everyone's forte, right? I think salespeople, especially successful salespeople, I think are really good at following a process and, sticking to a routine and being consistent. Video is a little inconsistent, right? You kind of have to be okay with just getting yourself out there, messing up, taking a few takes. And it's kind of like that balance of like, it needs to be good, but it doesn't need to be perfect. And trying to find those, I would say, one, that ability to get comfortable enough to be like, okay, now I'm good. Just like I can leave a voicemail without having a second guess. How do I make making a video just as simple and bit habitual? And then the other part is the process. How do I fit this into my process? Where do I fit this into my process? And I think that's the thing that a lot of salespeople are still trying to figure out. And so we evolved. We evolved our platform to be a lot more than just video, to be microsites and email campaigns and content tracking and AI. AI really changed it all for us because it was like, whoa, let's use AI to create content. And I can go into that more, but that's really kind of been the evolution of the platform from just a video solution to kind of now a full, sales and marketing suite.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And the whole thing about the emotional side of being on camera, making videos, I mean, it's just such a huge barrier for a lot of people. Like a lot of people wouldn't want to come on this podcast, for example, because it's like bad enough what you're going to
Yeah.
hear my voice. Yeah, and we're going to be on YouTube, and there's so
Yeah.
many people watching, and
Yeah.
yeah, it freaks people out. And you know, when we were working together with teams, we were helping them like almost overcome themselves because, and it was almost like, look, hey, what's your problem statement when you're prospecting? It's like, well, no one's responding to my emails. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not,
Yeah.
that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Is what do you want to do? Because email is unbelievably low on emotional connection.
Yeah.
It and this is what happened with sales. You mentioned it. Sales used to be picking up the phone. No, don't email. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. And then it moved to email, and that's when the problems really crept in because sellers stopped, just either never developed in the first place or stopped or lost it, the muscle memory of talking and just talking to people for the first time and cold calls. And so that dynamic, that was a much bigger shift for people than I thought it was going to be, to know, hey, you're going to get your phone out and you're going to record a message and I'm going to send it to you. And that's a barrier. That was a big barrier for people. But those that did it, they realized and overcame that, like the hump of that kind of
Yeah.
inner resistance.
Yeah.
Those that did it were super successful, weren't they?
Yeah. You know, it's just one of those things where it's not a silver bullet, but it's another arrow in your quiver here. And for me, it was I just feel like the sellers who adopted video, they generally succeeded because they were the ones that were looking for new ways of connecting, right? Because they were the ones who acknowledged this common challenge, like, how do I break through? How do I get a response? How do I even get an open or a click? And that's not going away, right? It's only becoming harder. And
Yeah.
so, you know, you have these sellers out there who are like, yeah, let me try something different. Let me add this to my tool set. And you know, they've learned, right? They've learned when to use it, right? Like for me, for instance, like I don't necessarily lead with cold prospecting as a great use case for video. I would most
No.
likely lead with like a follow-up, you know, because you already have some bit of rapport and it's just you already know what you're going to talk about because you had that meeting and it's just, hey, I just want to check in with these items. And it makes the process a little easier than me having to be like, oh, I have no idea who this person is. I'm about to send them just some blank video and I hope that they like it. Right. I mean, that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody. Or inviting people to an event. Oh, that's easy. Hey, I'd love for you to come to this event we're doing next week in Las Vegas. We'll be talking about blah, 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 blah. And by the way, I'll be there in person. Like these are like, to me, low hanging fruit. And in a sea of noise and emails and notifications and connection requests, like you see something different, even if it doesn't necessarily convert, it leaves a mark, right?
Mm.
And I feel like that's the thing about selling. It's like, I need you to know who I am. And then obviously through that, you will eventually hear what I have to say. And then if there is, you know, an appreciation, you like what I have to say. And then that creates that trust and, you know, or referrals, right? Like there's, I think, really good use cases where you can use video. Um, and then, yeah, you also have other people who are like, hey, I have some folks who are awesome. Like they literally will create a video for every like follow up, for every like intro. And not every one of them hits, but they've made it so fast now where it's like
Yeah.
typing, recording 30 seconds. They're basically the same for me. So that it sounds like a lot. And you're like, whoa, you've made like 3,000 videos in the last year. It's like, yeah, but I've made like easily 3,000 calls and I've easily said 3,000 emails. It's just what that person wants to do. But yeah, I mean, I encourage every seller listening, like if you haven't adopted video or tried it, you're missing a huge opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's layers of trust. Like this whole concept of, and we'll just stay on prospecting just because of the audience here. I mean, in fact, any business owner gets this. You don't need to be an enterprise salesperson to know this is that building a business, getting new customer conversations is tough, right? And it needs to have a mindset change to, I sit here and craft the most amazing email or LinkedIn message and I send it to you, and it's so good you just respond to me. That
Mm.
is not how prospecting, really good prospecting, should be thought of. Good prospecting should be thought of layers of trust way before I come in and say, hey, we should meet. I don't know whether we should meet or not. I don't know whether I can help you. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about you yet. So maybe I wouldn't suggest that we meet. And so we build the layers of trust. And you've got great platforms. You've got LinkedIn, you've got messaging, you've got emails, you've got referrals, you've got events, you've got voice notes, you've got video. And I totally agree with you. It's just another layer of trust where we're just looking to build a relationship with somebody. It's not
Yeah.
about who's, and that whole like pressure of, oh, then kicking yourself to say, oh, my video wasn't good enough, or maybe they didn't like me, or whatever. That's not reality. It's the emotional brain kind of just like coming up with all these reasons why something hasn't worked, and most of them are kind of fake news. So I really liked what you said there. It's just build it up. Maybe it's not even the what you do first. And I always think about that staircase,
Mm.
going up the staircase of trust, a little bit more trust, a little bit more trust.
Yeah.
That's the prospecting process for me. It's
Yeah.
not one
And that's a
thing.
really good point because that's kind of how these platforms, these cadencing, these sequencing platforms have been designed, right? Like, oh, let me just keep slowly 10, 15, 20 touches till I eventually get you to me. But the problem is every message is, hey, can we meet? Hey, can we meet?
Yeah.
Hey, can we meet? Hey, can we meet? And it's like,
Oh.
why? Why? Like, give me something
Yeah.
to like consider, right? Give me something to explore. And so I always tell our users, like, that was the evolution of OneMob, right? So first it was like, okay, I got you this. I'm going to send you a video because it's interesting, it's different, it's novel. It's your brain, your human brain is going to see this video and be like, oh, what is this? Curiosity. But then they watch the video, you introduce yourself. It's like, okay, well, just because you send me a video doesn't mean I want to meet. Like, why should I meet? And so I always tell, the evolution of OneMob became well, there's the video, then there's the microsite, and the microsite has other stuff. And for me, like you have to put some stuff in there, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
show some samples, give them something to
Yeah.
taste, right? It's like you can't
Yeah.
expect me to like buy food at the grocery store. If I can't maybe try it, or if I haven't had gotten some social proof, like, oh yeah, this is good. So it's like I tell salespeople, like, hey, don't worry if they don't respond. What's more important, like, are they exploring? Are they browsing what you shared? Because then you see, like, oh, maybe there's some interest here. But if they haven't responded yet, and all you keep saying is like, oh, watch my video, or oh, just do you want to meet? Do you want to meet? It's like, well, why? Like, what's in it for them, right? Like, I think that's the number one thing a seller always has to think about. And I love this layer of trust, right? Because for you, if I can slowly share successes, stories, anecdotes, like these other things from people in your industry, you're like, oh, well, most sales, like most vendors, most buyers, most prospects, they want to be able to show innovation in their organization. You just have to show it to them, and you have to package it up. And that was the thing that we were trying to do, was the video is like the teaser, and the microsite is like, okay, now that I got you here, let me show you, what you can do.
Yeah, it's a really, and I should just say to everybody listening that, yeah, the microsite, so OneMob is, yeah, of course, it has a video prospecting capability. You can record video in the app. It's so super easy. You've got like a little teleprompter function as well. It was great. Like I picked it up and used it instantly. And then the microsite, I thought it was really nice because it enables, so say you're prospecting with somebody and you're just trying to say, hey, this is a kind of like a value proposition. It's like you don't even need to talk to me. So don't feel the pressure of meeting with me. You can just click through to my microsite, which is much better than clicking through to a company website. Because in
Mm.
this case, the seller has been able to tailor it and kind of give their perspective, make it much more something that's focused on the value that you think this prospect might be able to get from your company. it was just really, really cool. And it just meant that I didn't need to go that extra step going, oh, I don't, when someone's saying, I don't want to meet you. Yeah, I'm not sure. And they were able to go just go test the water. I thought that was a really cool tool. And then the other thing with, we should get onto AI. The other thing that I found as a business owner is I'm getting all these AI generated messages. So it's kind of like bad enough when salespeople were copying and pasting kind of LinkedIn and emails to me, kind of guessing my problem statement and going straight to product and features. Now these things are coming through. They're obviously written by AI. So now I don't even know if there's a human sending this message to me. And well, if I see your video, I kind of know it's a human. If I hear your voice, maybe just I can tell it's a human. But yes, AI has kind of not been helpful to a lot of salespeople because I think they've just used it to make this do more of a bad process.
Oh yeah. It's just amplified spray and pray,
Yeah,
right?
that's a great
This
term.
this
Yeah, yeah.
this idea of just, oh, okay, well, I used to be able to reach out to 100 people a day. Now it's 1,000, and it sounds good, but it's just more and more noise, which is creating more and more defensive and trust issues, right? With all of these prospects and buyers out there, and like you say, right, the video, it's one of the best ways to just completely humanize the outreach. And I feel like what we're trying to encourage folks now to do is, you know, how can you do what you're doing today? And how can you look for those moments where, like, hey, maybe a human touch could be valuable in this interaction. And again, just thinking about you're going to be having to touch this client 5 to 20 prospect touches. So we're in that motion. Are you sending out videos to prospects, or are you just creating content on your social presence so that people can, start to learn more about you? Because, we tell people all the time, like, if you reach out to a buyer, a good chance of a good portion of these buyers are going to go immediately to your LinkedIn and see, who is this person?
Yes.
Like, who is this
Yes.
person reaching out to me? And I always give that analogy. It's like, if you have two restaurants next to each other, both have amazing food, but one's empty and one's got people in it. Even if you don't have any like idea of how the food tastes, you're just going to be drawn to the one that has people in it because it feels like, oh, this place is active. It's got social proof. And so if you have a LinkedIn profile and you're not posting, you're not creating content, you're just essentially keeping your lights off at this restaurant, and you're making it hard for people to trust you. Even if your product is great, even if it's the right thing they need, they're just going to be like, well, I don't even know who this person is. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get to like, especially in this world where like cybersecurity has become such an issue. Like, to me, a lot of your selling time has to be on prospecting and you building your own brand.
Yeah, for sure. And I always think about view your LinkedIn profile as your .com, your homepage, right? Not the company that you work for. It's not their
Yeah.
page just because you
Yeah.
happen to work for them. It's your personal but professional homepage.
Yeah.
And we've had so many instances during the kind of prospecting and hunting kind of sales motion where the prospect has got onto someone's LinkedIn profile and taken a look. And what I thought was really cool about OneMob is you're able to start creating really short videos and having them up on your featured part of your LinkedIn profile. Kind of gives you something to tag there
Yeah.
that's just more than a sort of a headshot or whatever you have on your most people have on their LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn started trying to encourage that with some video stuff as well, didn't they? I don't have one, but I see plenty of people that do. And it's just to do one thing, that when your prospect or your customer looks at that, they see a human being that cares
Yeah.
behind that profile. If I was going to say what's the most valuable part of all of that, it's literally, yeah, that it humanizes you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And we then kind of started to explore AI, and we wanted to kind of figure out, well, what made sense. And we took kind of the initial angle around content creation, and we thought, well, making a video isn't easy. You're right, people struggle. So we thought, what is like the three things that we constantly hear about when people are making videos? I don't know what to say. Okay, great. We have a teleprompter. Well, but it looks like I'm reading. I don't like my background. Okay, great. Like, let's change your background. But before you had to use like a green screen. And then, oh, like it's noisy. I'm in the office. There's lots of things. So we used AI to attack those three problems. Now you can read literally word for word from a teleprompter. We'll use AI and boom, we'll fix your eye contact.
Yes.
Super
Yeah.
quick, right? You can change your background to whatever you want. No green screen. AI will do it for you. And boom, you can record from wherever you want. And then we used AI to fix the audio. So all of a sudden, you don't even need a microphone. Like we will literally make it sound like you have this podcast studio. And those three things I think really helped. But again, like just getting people that muscle memory. Like, how do I get you to record? How do I get you to create? And then the last thing that we added was, okay, fine. We won't even have you record. Just, say a few words, give us your voice and face, and then create a script and then click generate. And AI will make the video of you saying that. And the response was really interesting because for the big enterprises, it was like, whoa, well, we got to go through our AI ethics board and council, and we need to make sure that this is okay, that we're not creating like these deep fakes. And it's like, well, it's the seller, like the seller is making like the base video, like we're just replicating them. But that whole process really kind of didn't take off the way I thought it was, because I think there was just a lot of like hurdles to go through. And then maybe on the smaller businesses where they didn't have that, you'd have people who were like, well, I can kind of tell it looks like AI. I don't like that I'm seeing this little tweak here, there. And it's like, wow, like how picky are people getting? It's like you're uncomfortable if you say something or if you do too many ums and ahs, and you're uncomfortable if AI does it for you. So it just started to get into this point where it's like, honestly, I don't even know if like the AI can fix that issue. I think that's something that, again, is not having to do with the tech. It has to do with your mindset. And are
Yes.
you ready to embrace another way of outreach than just playing it safe, hiding behind your email, and just, letting your robo dialer make your calls for you?
Yeah, and look, everybody listening to this podcast is thinking, "Hey, is AI going to take my job role?" Don't make it bloody easy for it to take your job role.
Yeah.
And if your job role in this in as the sales kind of hunting motion is to sit there copying and pasting emails, then yes, AI will come along and take your job role. Don't worry, you'll be the first on the list of people because you're not humanizing that exchange. You're
Yeah.
just doing a role that can easily be automated. But
Yeah.
if you're a salesperson who is saying, right, I feel this makes me feel uncomfortable. By the way, that normally says you're kind of going in the right direction. If you start feeling this level of discomfort, it's
Yeah.
normally because you're trying something new.
Yeah.
Now, most salespeople, especially when they are involved in kind of new logo, kind of breaking into new divisions, most salespeople will say, I feel under a huge amount of pressure. What I'm doing is not working. Yeah, okay, so that means we need to stop that or do less of it and do something new. Now, with AI coming along, and its horrible little automation hands will get on to all sorts of different workflows and processes. But I believe that really good human to human interaction where salespeople really prioritize that. And that is going to mean you need to use video or audio, probably both, be much more well researched, and AI is brilliant for research. But yeah, you've got to be human. You've got to
Yeah.
be the human. If you're just digital, zeros and ones making up an email, then yeah, you've just made it a lot easier for the workflow that's underpinning that to automate out a chunk of your job role. It doesn't need to be like that. Let's be the last profession that gets automated out. My goal is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like to me, a seller who uses AI is going to leapfrog a seller who doesn't. So I think there's an opportunity here to do amazing things. We ended up throwing AI like everywhere in our platform, from everything to like creating scripts and writing content and copy and emails, because again, like that's where you can leverage AI for research, and you can use it to help you craft, maybe a better format. But you should be the delivery mechanism. Like you need to be
Yeah,
the
that's
quarterback.
right.
You are the
Yeah.
seller. Like, of course, you have your team of players behind you, but like you're the face. Like, let people know that, hey, if this is not the right time to buy, that's okay. But I'm here. I'm your point of contact. And like, if you have any questions, and everyone's always talking about, the best sellers are trusted advisors. You can't be a trusted advisor if I've never seen you, if I don't never meet you. And again, like you can't just assume someone's going to take a call just because you've like brute forced their inbox or their voicemail. We kind of continue to evolve, and we figured that, all right, well, again, what is the biggest challenges for us as a seller, outside of like, hey, I need to get more responses, I need to get more meetings, I need to get my quota. A lot of sellers just feel like they're just so drained with time. Like, how do I do
Yes.
this? How do I squeeze this in? So for us was like, how do we make the process fast, right? Like, what can we templatize? What can we let AI do so you don't have to sit there and like process it for you? Like, how can we trim all these things down so that what used to take maybe like 5-10 minutes is now taking 1 minute? And we're getting closer to that point where you're going to get to a world where you record one video, you have hundreds of people you want to go after, and then like the AI can like make some subtle changes in your wording so that it feels very personal. And that's not a far off world that we'll be in. But again, like I don't even think you need to be there right now. I think just you looking at your current book of business, like if you're a seller listening to this today and you're like, I'm not getting responses from these individuals, or I have an upcoming event I want to promote. Like, there are some low hanging fruit that I would absolutely tap into. Send out a video, put together, a quick little microsite so people can explore, and then let it be, right. Like, how many sellers make a call, person picks up and says, hey, you know what? Send me more information. Like, this is the more information to send, right? Like, this is the lead
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
that every seller should be kind of putting in their arsenal. So we ended up continuing down this path, and we were thinking, especially because of our microsites, we're like, we have a lot of content. And one thing that like AI has really proven is it's great for like answering questions. It's great for summarizing, like, oh, someone sent me this huge PDF. What's my takeaways? And so what we ended up doing is we started to bridge this world of like, what if we took all your content and we created an agent? And the agent can, just like you could chat GPT, you could ask it questions and it would start to answer questions specifically on your content. Because one of the hardest things with AI is like, I don't want it to make stuff up. Like, I don't want it to like just give me an answer for the sake of giving me an answer. I want it to like really look at the content. And so we built actually another platform. It's called You and Me, like YOU and then a letter N and then ME.ai. And this platform allows anyone to just build an agent. You can choose a face, so you can actually give it a human look and feel, and you can talk to it. And it's wild because most of us are used to going to websites and a chat bot pops up and it's like, hey, do you want to learn about this and this? And it's very kind of like automatic. This is different. Like, you launch this agent and like, hey, how's it going? What do you want to talk about? But it's trained on the knowledge you give it. You answer it questions. And the cool thing is, if I ask it a question that's outside of its scope, it's not going to make something up. It's going to say, oh, you know what? I don't know the answer to that. Let me connect you to a real person. And boom, now you have, someone to help do a discovery for you, help qualify leads. And again, for us, we see this as like the perfect partner to a seller, because sellers
Yes.
aren't available 24/7. And to be honest, sellers don't know everything, right? Like, especially for some of these companies who sell really technical products, you could upload this into this. The agent knows all of those details. And then when the person's like, okay, cool, thanks for telling me about this, I like to talk to someone real, boom, the agent will schedule the meeting for you.
Yeah. And look, for the people that you really trust, I think about, say, for yourself, Sati, if I only could talk to your agent, but you had trained it up on everything. Obviously, I'd like it to look a bit like you as well and sound like you.
It can do it. It
I
can
think
do
that
it.
would be great. But if you'd trained it up if it had just been like all of your knowledge that's in your head,
Yeah.
everything that you'd said, you trained up on all your video stuff, you'd done like literally had it trained up on all your training course material, anything. I'd happily talk to your agent, your AI you,
Yeah.
to if you weren't around to get, hey, what's your perspective on this? What's your perspective on that? And then maybe then I can grab you for kind of like a 15-minute Zoom or Teams call or whatever. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
I want to speak to the agent that I know it's been trained up on all of Sethi's stuff. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, right? Like, because most people, they like to browse on their own, right? They like to do their own research. They like to dig and really kind of come up with the solution. And I think that's what's really nice about this is because it kind of gives them a way of doing their own exploration. But, they have their little, it's like Microsoft when they have that little Clippy. This is like a way smarter
Yeah,
Clippy that
yes.
will
Yeah,
be
yeah.
a
Forgot
reflection of
about
you as a seller, and it will be that guide, right? So as that prospect is exploring, they can ask questions and they will be qualified. And how many sellers out there want to call people who are interested, right? Like we don't, no one like wakes up saying, "Oh, I can't wait to cold call a bunch of people who are going to like hang up on me." We all want to just be using our time in the best way. And I think that's what's really cool here because this allows the conversations to, to essentially get smarter because the agent can do a lot of that initial outreach. They can do a lot of that initial discovery and then feed all that knowledge back to the seller, tee the seller up. And then when the seller calls or touches base, it's like, oh, great. Like, I know you already asked about these things. I know you got some answers here. Like, let me like fill in any gaps.
Yeah, and the ability to add to the other things that you mentioned, which was the research step required for any successful prospecting is based on really good, strong research. That is so fast. I'd say that's 10x faster than it was 2 years ago on how to research a prospect and then as you say, even kind of like auto generate a little bit of a script for you, but you personalize it. You never let it get 100 take 100% of the action. Then
Yeah.
you personalize it. But yeah, on my classes for prospecting with empathy and advanced hunting for AI, which are like my two flagship programs, we've dramatically reduced the research burden for
Yeah.
the salespeople. And all of a sudden, it used to be any kind of like enterprise sales roles where they only had like 10 to 20 accounts. Could they cope with that level of research because they haven't got
Yeah.
that many accounts? Well, there's people with like 100 accounts, 200 accounts. Now with AI making you much faster in
Oh,
research, it's
like
phenomenal.
you got platforms like Google Notebook that you can literally give it any organization and it will not only create a ton of information for you, it'll turn it into a podcast so you can like listen to it, on the way or before your meeting. And again, for us, it's like great because you get all these data sources, you upload them into our agent, and now the agent is literally like a replica of you. It can answer it knows the same thing about these customers and can also answer in parallel. And it's like what do buyers want? Buyers want to feel personal. They want to feel like they're being heard. They want to feel like the conversation is being tailored to them and their specific needs. And if anything, like they want responsiveness, right? They want you to be
Yeah.
available when they are.
Yeah.
And again, sellers who are handling 10, 50, 100, 2,000 accounts, like that's only going to that's only going to be available with a partner. And I think that's what agents are going to be.
Yeah, I completely agree. Look, I'm just keeping an eye on time, and as you know, I can talk literally all day about prospecting. I love it because it's the
Yeah.
essence of sales, and I think I kind of helping people overcome the inner barrier, and it's been fantastic working with your team and your product because it is such a great product, but it does need people to overcome that barrier. But like no more so than now, right? Now AI's here and people are considering, hey, can I automate this?
Yeah,
Let's not let AI, let's AI make us so much better, so much more valuable to our customers. Let's not get automated out of it. And I think human to human interaction is, if that's where the value is shared, then it will stay for a very long time. So Sethi, it's been brilliant having you on the podcast. Where do people find you? And also, is there somewhere where someone can go just to get a demo? If they're thinking, what were they saying? What was this OneMob thing? Yeah, is there like a kind of demo? Because it works so well once you just use this platform. It's so obvious the value that can be shared.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'd love for people to connect with me on LinkedIn for sure. That's the easiest. And just go to my channel. I'm sure maybe you'll have a link in your show notes. And then from there, you'll see also just what we're working on. So OneMob, that's just ONEMOB.com, is everything around video, sales, marketing, campaigns, and everything we talked about from just the prospecting angle. And then if you want to play with our agents, if you want to build an agent for lead qualification, for answering questions, even for training employees, yeah, that's you and me. So YOUNME.ai. And both of them have free plans. So you can play around with it. You can send out your first email campaign, video campaign. You can build your first agent and see what it's like. But I guarantee you, once you start to drop these into your emotions, you're going to start to get responses and, engagement
Yeah.
that you haven't seen before. Because again, like, they're going to see you, they're going to see something visual that's going to draw them out of this just drone of like ongoing endless text-based messages and emails.
Yeah, it's kind of like be the change you want to see in the world, right? Let's get the human to human interaction going. That's how we should be communicating. But let's let AI just help us and enable us to do more of that and be better at that.
Yeah.
That's the value proposition. And like most of the people that come on the podcast, I've researched their products, but I haven't actually used it. OneMob, I've used it. Absolutely excellent. So yeah, I'd highly recommend everybody go check the show notes. I will drop all the links to how to speak to Sethi and to go onto OneMob and grab those, hey, free account or
Yeah.
demo trial. Go do
And,
it. It'll
and
be,
like
it'll
you
be
said, everyone out there who's thinking about it, feeling maybe a little uncomfortable, like that is important because that means something about to change. And so
yeah.
lean into that uncomfortability because that's where the magic happens and you'll see it really quickly.
Yeah. And if you want to learn about how to overcome the mind, reach out to me. I'm doing it daily. Moment by moment, I'm observing what is going on in my mind. So it's often saying, no, I don't want to do it. Oh, it's new. I don't want to try it. And we develop that muscle of overcoming the mind. And that's where we find success. So Sethi, it's been brilliant seeing you today. You're looking really well. So hopefully I'll see you in a room full of people soon, and we'll be doing our thing together and just helping people overcome the age-old problem of no response to prospecting reach outs. Let's change the dynamic. Now's a
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah. Let's help you not be ignored anymore. No more ghosting. Thanks, man. I appreciate the time and thank you to everyone listening.
Yeah, thank you, Sethi. Okay, thank you so much.